It is good to be back with you for another day of Bible study as we continue on our conversation of perspective shift. We have spent these last few weeks, and if I'm looking at the schedule correctly, this is our final week on looking into the church. And is it what God intended for it to be? Are we, as followers of Jesus Christ, what God intended for us to be? I think the answer that we can conclusively say after these past few weeks is no. Maybe a little more, but not fully. We still have some things to learn, and that's what we're trying to learn here through this study. And we're glad that you are along with us for the ride, brought to you courtesy of Christ Table. You can find out more about Christ Table by visiting www.christtable.today. Encourage you to sign up for the email list there, and especially encourage you to consider donating to us. We have this resource box that we send in the mail, absolutely free to our donors. In fact, we are packing those boxes this week. They will go out in the mail hopefully sometime next week in order to get in your homes for the next Bible study, the next book study. We have a couple of other free gifts in there for you. And the whole point of this is to help you kind of navigate your own spiritual journey, whether you're a part of a church, whether you're not a part of a church. This is a great opportunity for you to grow deeper in your faith and do so alongside a community of people that are open-minded, that are connected to each other, but maybe a little bit more disconnected from all of the drama and trauma that is a part of the church recently than normal. So we'd love to put one of these in the mail to you. We send them for free to all of our donors. You can do that right there at www.christtable.today. Or if you don't have the means to do that, or just want to try it out to see what it is, then you can let us know, and we'll send you one for free this time. Either way, we're glad that you are here to be a part of this Bible study with us. If you'd like to join us in this study, go.christtable.today/perspective shift. We'll give you all of the information that you need to know to be a part of this journey with us. And we are thankful for you being a part of the journey as well. So why don't we, without any further delay, dig in. When we come to the final portion of the book of Acts, we find Paul on his way to Rome, and he is shipwrecked. The ship that he has been riding in as prisoner has run aground, been destroyed through a storm just off the island of Malta in the Mediterranean Sea. And we're going to be able to take a last and final look in the story of the book of Acts into how Paul interacts specifically with those people on the island of Malta who are unrefined. They are not Greek, they're not Roman, they're not cultured or enculturated by Roman thinking and Roman practices or Greek thinking or Greek practices. They are half African, they are half Phoenician, they are, well, they might have been a little like what we considered ourselves where I grew up in the Midwest, rednecks. People who were just not up on the urban scene. And so what we find here and what we found yesterday, if you listened to yesterday's sermon, and I hope you'll go back and listen to that, but if not, what we found here was essentially that these people had something else that maybe the elite didn't necessarily have. And we're going to find that in today's reading in Acts chapter 28, verses 7 through 10. It will pop its head up again. Verse 7. Near the shore where we landed, landed is a bit of a humorous word, where they swam to shore on debris after having crashed, destroyed the ship, was an estate belonging to Publius, the chief official of the land. This could have been the governor. This could have been somebody who was a leader on the island of Malta. It could have been a prominent business person. All that we know from this is that he was a big dog, a big wig, somebody who was very important, especially since we're given the name. He welcomed us and treated us kindly for 3 days. Now, this isn't just Paul and his captor, his guard. This isn't just Paul and the warden and the cook who were on this ship. This was 276 human lives, crew, passengers, and prisoners as well, who have swam ashore on this small island and who have experienced now more than once an uncommon level of kindness. What chief official of anything would welcome 276 individuals and treat them kindly for 3 days? After 3 days, the cameras have stopped rolling, the newspaper reporters have gone home, the people who are watching to tweet or TikTok the news have lost interest and moved on to something else. An uncommon kindness for a welcome is perhaps expected out of an official, a chief official. Perhaps even the visibility of a day's worth of food or an overnight stay would be considered kindly. But this is more than a kind gesture. This is something that goes more to the heart and the character of who this person is, because 3 days would not have been expected. But he welcomed 276 individuals, it seems, and treated them kindly for 3 days. This is something that we often see in the world that we don't necessarily regularly see in the church and in followers of Jesus Christ. I think that oftentimes we as a church, or at least I was taught this a lot growing up, that you shouldn't look to the world, that the world should look to the church, especially when it comes to kindness and compassion. We follow a God whom said, "I am love." We follow a Jesus who is the model example of compassion through healings, through caring about the poor, the under-resourced, the oppressed, the gender oppressed, the sexually oppressed, the resource oppressed, the political oppressed. We follow a Bible and read a Bible that is constantly encouraging and directing us to show uncommon kindness. But here in this passage, it's the world, quote unquote. It's those who are not followers of Jesus Christ, who aren't even Jews, who are showing kindness, unreasonable, extravagant, unrelenting kindness. It's not the religious people. If that was the way it were in Malta in that day, 2,000 years later, that is certainly the way it is here in U.S. America today. The church thinks that the world should look to it to understand kindness, but in thinking that, unfortunately, the church has turned off the truth of the kindness of the world. We have the greatest, most important story that's ever been told. We are indwelt, our scriptures tell us, by the living, breathing God who works itself, God works himself out through our hands and through our feet. And yet, it's all too often the world that's showing the uncommon kindness and not the church. It's time for the church to look to the example of the world and learn something. And yes, we can. And it's not ungodly to do so. All good things come from God, right? It's his creation. We call this general revelation. The good things in the world that are there, that are apart, are from God. And so we can look to the world to understand and to see that kindness and hopefully realize how far away, unfortunately, sometimes we are from it. Just as Paul and his companion Luke, who's keeping the record here in the book of Acts, recognize as well. So, verse 8, as it happened, Publius's father was ill with fever and dysentery. Publius is showing uncommon kindness for multiple days to what seems to be hundreds of people, while his own father is sick and dying. Paul goes in and prays for him, lays his hands on him, and heals him. Certainly this was unexpected from Publius. Publius He had no idea that he was in the presence of a prisoner whom in those days, the idea was if bad things befall you, like a shipwreck, like a snake bite, which has just happened just previous to these verses, then it was divine justice. You deserved what you were getting. So judgment had already been passed essentially on Paul by so many people. Little did he know that he was in the presence of somebody who could heal his father. Christians are able to offer an unkindness, an uncommon, we are able to offer an unkindness, right? A Freudian slip, and we do. Isn't that my point here? But Christians are able to offer something more than unkindness. Christians are able to offer a kind of uncommon kindness that the world cannot. You see, this is the whole point, is we can offer an uncommon level of kindness, the same kind of kindness that the world offers as well. But we can take that kindness to a second level, to a deeper level. This is the point. Unfortunately, we've not even reached the level of kindness that the world offers. If we've not even reached the level of kindness and love and compassion that the world, who doesn't know God, who doesn't follow Jesus, is able to offer to each other, how can we ever hope to get to the level of kindness that Paul shows here? How can we ever hope to get to that second level that is truly uncommon, or should be? Christians are able to offer something even more. But see, here's the thing. We seem to think that the thing that we're offering, the Jesus, the healing, the spiritual transformation, is the first thing, the only thing, and the most important thing that we have to offer. So we jump to level 2. I don't need to take care of the refugees. I don't need to be concerned about the day laborers in the backyard. I don't need to worry about how the rest of the community views my perspective on social issues such as gay marriage or abortion or the poor in our community, those people who don't have enough, or education laws or race or ethnicity. I don't need to worry about all of those things because I have Jesus to offer. I have healing to offer. I have something that is so important that I need to offer them that I don't need to. Let's just skip all of the kindness and jump straight to the Christianity. Not understanding that Christianity is the kindness. The kindness is the Christianity. You can't have level 2 without level 1. And so we try to offer what the world cannot, hope in Jesus, without offering what the world needs, and that's to see that we love them and we care for them first. Who the heck would ever want our Jesus if we're not even willing to give them a meal? Love, concern. Y'all, we got it backwards. And this is why the world wants nothing of the church and of its Jesus. It's because we haven't done the bare minimum in the social contract of offering kindness. When Paul does both, and yesterday we saw this in verse 5 where Paul does both, he offers basic kindness and assistance. And then here now we've seen him offer a level 2, an unworldly or otherworldly kindness or love. What happens then is all of the other sick people on the island come and they're healed. Because they see both things out of Paul. They see that he's offering everything else that the world is offering, which means that they truly see that he loves them and he cares for them, not just their eternity, but they're present. But then he also offers them something deeper, something more long lasting, something more eternal, a healing. And as a result, verse 10 says, we were showered. This is Luke writing, so he means himself and Timothy and Paul and anyone else who were a part of the entourage following Paul, who's headed to Rome in custody. As a result, we were showered with honors, and when the time came to sail, people supplied us with everything that we would need for the trip. Because Paul and that small band of Christians took care of other people around them, the other people around them took care of Paul. The world takes notice of us when we take notice of them. And taking notice of the world does not mean seeing them as a notch in the belt of salvation. Taking notice of the world does not mean seeing them as an opportunity to pass along a get out of hell free card. They're living in hell. Many, many people. And your short prayer isn't going to rescue them from the hell they're living in. They need us to care about the hell of the present moment before they're going to care about anything spiritual that you have to say. So take notice of the hurt around you. Take notice of those moments when you encounter an opportunity to be the hands and the feet of a compassionate, a loving, and a kind Jesus. Put your Christian card in the back pocket and be a human being, a human caring, be a human doing, and help fix somebody's present problem. And you will begin to see a whole new world open up to you that has been closed off before. A world where you will have more opportunities for uncommon kindness than you ever could have considered imaginable. Until tomorrow, happy reading.